Hi, guys. I'm going to really get into the meat of this in just a minute. I want to give you guys a chance to log on. But I decided to create a YouTube video, which I haven't done before, so I apologize if I'm not very good, explaining how the federal shutdown has impacted our family. My husband is a federal worker. He is ex Navy. He has been in government service either through the military or in his current position for over 15 years. He takes his job extremely seriously. He does consider it a service to his country. The work he does is extremely vital to public safety, and if he wasn't at work, it would have a big impact on our economy if everyone who does his job wasn't performing their job. So he's currently at work right now, working. He's not getting a paycheck, and he is still working hard. I've had a lot of people say that maybe he should apply for a different job, um, resign, go on strike. I've seen a lot of people saying things in comments about not showing up to work. I just want to say I know my husband personally would never, ever do that. He wants to be at work and do his job and feels like it is extremely important that he is at work. He would never do anything that would jeopardize safety in any way. So that is not an option. It's also illegal for government workers to strike, but I think he is not in the minority. He had to take an oath of office when he got hired. I don't know if they currently do that anymore, but he takes that very seriously. I think there are a lot of federal employees who take their service to their country very seriously. So the idea that they would strike or put the public in jeopardy in any way is pretty nonsensical in my mind. I'm really frustrated with the shutdown. It's the longest shutdown that we've ever had. I'm frustrated because, different than other previous shutdowns where there were rumors and there was talk, and we knew there was some bipartisan problems with the budget, and we kind of prepared accordingly. This one was really unexpected. Um, the Congress already had approved and negotiated a budget, and it seemed like everyone was on board. We personally pay a lot of attention to the news when budgets are coming due, when they need to allocate more money. That's very much on our radar. Those are the news stories that we're always watching very carefully. So this shutdown was not expected. It seemed to happen just overnight, and it happened right before Christmas. For our family, that made a big change to our Christmas plans because my husband was planning to take quite a lot of leave over the Christmas break. As some of you may know, right now we currently have 5, sometimes 6 kids in our house, and we had planned a lot of family activities to do to make this time really special. I don't want to overemphasize our problems in the shutdown personally, because I know there's a lot more people who are going through a lot of suffering and have their own trouble, and I don't want to take away from that. But I will say I have 2 friends who are close friends who are battling for their life with cancer right now. One of my friends is a single mom, and when she went to the hospital with cancer to get chemo treatment, we took her children to watch them. We have 2 of her kids now living with us full time. We have 3 of our own biological children, and that time, that suffering that those kids are having to go through because her illness was so sudden and so severe is so much more than what, a loss of income is to us. So I understand there's people with way bigger problems, and I empathize with that. I don't want to overemphasize our problems, but I'm very frustrated because our problems are unnecessary. Like, my husband and I have gone through plenty of times. I've had my own illnesses and couldn't work for 2 years due to illness. And we've had real suffering that was unexpected. And I think in this life, we're just given trouble sometimes. And we have to work our way through it and figure it out. And it sucks. But then we get past it, hopefully, and we get to enjoy the good times in life. And those are a blessing and a gift. And I feel like when this happened, because it's not necessary and it's so ridiculous, I don't even understand why at this point Congress hasn't changed the law so that they can have a minimal amount of spending to pay, at the very least, the employees who are at work, who can't go get a second job because they're working full-time without a paycheck. There should be an amendment to the law, or a law made, that employees who are still working at the very minimum get paid. They shouldn't be able to be used as a negotiating tool. My husband's paycheck shouldn't be something that the Congress and president can use to fight with each other. And it's not right. It's not okay to do that to good, loyal employees. And I really hope that Congress or the president, one of these sides, comes together and does what's right. Because the thing is, when you negotiate, which I do a lot in my job, and our company and a lot of companies follow the idea of having like a win-win solution. The problem with government shutdowns is, regardless of which side wins or if each side negotiates a win-win, the employees always lose. The employees have no control over it. They have no say over it. And it leaves the employees with that loss of leave. If they had leave, they didn't get to take. They lost those plans or those memories that they can't get back. And it leaves them with all the stress that they had to go through while waiting for the government to figure it out. I just hope that after this shutdown being so long and so severe, that the Congress would legislate some kind of way to prevent this from happening again. It wasn't okay when Clinton did it. It wasn't okay when Obama did it. It wasn't okay when Reagan did it. It wasn't okay when Bush Sr. did it. It's never okay for employees to be used as the bargaining chip in negotiations. That's just not right. And I hope after this long and severe shutdown that something gets done to change the way the government shuts down when it shuts down. I hope that they can make a way where the employees aren't the ones who always lose. Because regardless of political party or what the topic of the day is that's being debated, the employees are always the ones who are left as the losers in the deal. So I just hope that the Congress can stop letting this happen and stop letting it happen so much. The problem with it is once it's happened and worked, it will keep happening and it will keep getting worse. And every time, neither side will budge because they've seen it work in the past. So this needs to stop. and never ever happen again. So I hope that something gets done about it. It also looks bad on our country. And with our credit rating getting downgraded not that long ago, I worry about the long-term effects on our country and our credit rating. It makes us look bad to the rest of the world, that we're in such gridlock over something so ridiculous, and that was unexpected. So I just want to emphasize the fact that our family is currently suffering. Our family has gone through enough suffering in life that was unexpected and unpredictable and just part of being human and being in this world. It's just something we all have to deal with. This suffering that we're going through right now was manufactured. Like, it didn't have to happen. It's not necessary. It's ridiculous. And it's not fair to us, and especially to our kids. My husband's leave was canceled for the Christmas break, which means that all of our Christmas break plans were canceled. And we missed out on a lot of good family bonding time that we would have had otherwise. Also, I was not planning to work very much during Christmas break, but because I knew that he possibly wouldn't be getting a paycheck, I ended up and chose to work a lot more than normal. And so during the Christmas break, of course, we had all the kids, and so neither of us could work at the same time. And what ended up happening is my husband would go to work, and then I would go to work as soon as he got home. And every weekend I was working, and our kids just watched too much TV and played a lot of video games, and we didn't have very many chances to have some good family bonding time. And it's heartbreaking because I can never get this Christmas break back with my kids. And especially for my friends' kids who are they've already experienced enough trauma that they deserve to have good, happy, pleasant memories. And because I was stressed, my husband was stressed and worried, even when we try to pretend like we're not worried about it, we're worried about it. And we're not bringing that level of fun and magic that we would normally have. We don't have the same level of relaxation. And we didn't go camping. We didn't take the kids to ride like the sugarcane train. There's a lot of things that we wanted to do over Christmas break that we just canceled and didn't do. The other thing that we changed drastically was two kids in our household had birthdays over Christmas break, and those got way scaled back. My friend, someone donated money for her kids, so I was still able to use that money to give her kids, one of her kids, a good birthday, and she was able to give him a good present. But as far as our son, I just did a small birthday party, and it was fun. He has friends, and it's fine, but it's just disappointing as a mom when you want to give your kid something great, a great, exciting party that he's looking forward to, and then you have to cancel it and rein it in and change it. It doesn't seem fair to him. He's been working so hard this year, and he's doing so good in school, and I was really looking forward to giving him like this epic birthday party. And instead, we just did like the most simple, easy party at our house. And he doesn't know. He doesn't know that we wanted to give him some amazing birthday party because we didn't tell him, luckily. And he doesn't know that it was scaled back. So we're trying to minimize the impact that it has on our kids, but it's not fair. It's not fair to them. It's not fair to him. We ended up giving him one of our old phones without service as a gift because I didn't want to spend a bunch of money on birthday gifts. And the emotional stress of this is causing me to not sleep. I'm being really short with my kids. And at some level, the kids are worried about it. And I'm trying to let them know not to worry, but they know because, if they want to go out to eat or go do something, I'm telling them no, that dad's not getting a paycheck. And so we have to wait. We still have plenty of food in our pantry. We're trying to minimize the amount of suffering that happens to the kids. But the other thing that's really worrisome is we don't know how long this is going to last. And the uncertainty, I think for me at least as a mom, especially with so many people depending on me to provide the positivity and to give encouragement and to be the leader, it's hard to do that well when things are so uncertain. And so when the president says this shutdown could last for months or years, it sets my radar off and my worry level goes to max because I know that we have enough money in our bank account right now to pay this next mortgage payment. If this shutdown goes on for 30 more days, I don't know if I'll be able to work enough to get our next mortgage payment. And there are some bills that have to be paid with cash that you can't use a credit card for. And so for all the bills that we have that we cannot pay with a credit card, we have to make sure we have that much cash in the bank. Also, we had just started, I just started with the Dave Ramsey plan and we had quite a bit in our savings that I paid off some credit cards with and canceled them out. And I can tell you that canceling your credit cards is not necessarily good for your credit, but I did it just so we wouldn't be tempted to use them again. That was about a week before the shutdown. And that impacts my credit. And now my husband and I both went out and got store credit cards. I got one for Target and he got one for Costco so that we can buy our groceries on credit and maintain our cash in our bank account because we don't know how long the shutdown's going to go. If I knew the shutdown would only be for another week, we would have never applied for credit cards. But when the president's saying that it might go on for months, then I need to prepare for months of not getting paid while my husband is at work. So that's going to cost us with interest on our credit cards. My husband's in the process of applying for a loan, which has a fee in case the government isn't open in another couple weeks. He's going to need to take out a loan if I can't make enough money on my own to pay our mortgage. We live in one of the highest cost of living places in the country, and our mortgage payment is significantly high because the cost of living here is significantly high. If we do end up late or have any missed payments, we're going to have those fees to pay. But long term, the fact that we open 2 new credit cards that we plan to then cancel, that alone impacts our credit score. And so if we ever want to buy a car or buy a house or refinance this house or go to a 15-year mortgage, any of those things, that's going to impact our ability to do that. So we may not be able to do that anymore. And a loss of credit score, if we have the opportunity to refinance our house, and if interest rates go back to where they were a couple of years ago and drop, if interest rates drop 2%, we could refinance our house. We can make 22% savings on our mortgage, or we could refinance it into a 15-year loan. Our credit scores, if they're too impacted by this, will disable us from being able to do that and save that money on such a long-term 30-year loan. So it's going to have a real and long-term effect on us. I've been really grateful. We've had people being extremely generous. We have a food truck that gave us a free meal, and the kids thought that was really fun. So we got to get like dinner out because we're not eating out. And we had somebody anonymously gave us $100 to help with our bills. Another person gave us a $100 gift card. So we've had people just, giving. We had someone bring us food last night, and it's so kind and so nice, and it's encouraging. But we still have our bills to pay. And I know some people are setting up GoFundMes and things like that, but part of me doesn't want to ask for help because I know that my husband will most likely be getting back paid. And when he's getting paid, we have more than enough money to pay our bills. So I don't want to take other people's hard-earned money that they could use to help someone else or give to their church or whatever to pay our bills when eventually we should be getting money that will cover our bills. But not knowing when it's the first time in my life that I've gratefully accepted someone's charity, because I don't know when. I don't know when my husband's going to get paid again. So I have to be smart about it, and it would be foolish to not take someone's generosity right now. But I really pride myself on the fact that we both grew up extremely differently than we live now. And we've come a long way, and we've been successful, and we're doing well, and we had a plan, and we have retirement, and we've built up our life and done a lot of hard work to get here, to live the life that we live now, and to enjoy the lifestyle that we enjoy right now. And because of that, I'm able to serve others and serve my kids well and serve other kids now. And we're able to foster. And so we have a foster son now, and I run a women's ministry at our church, and we're able to just give of our time and money a lot. And I'm grateful for that. And this shutdown has just really diminished my ability to give to others. It's hard to give or encourage others when you're coming from a place of worry. And you can't pour from an empty cup. And our cup has been empty. And my husband's last paycheck was $0. We can't give from an empty bank account. And so it's hard to change your perspective of yourself when I feel like I want to be someone who's giving and generous. And now, I'm someone on the other side of that who's needing. And our long-term plan, if this keeps going, is, like I said, we're going to start applying for loans so we can pay our bills with loans. Unfortunately, because I had just paid off and closed credit cards, it was really bad timing on my part. If I hadn't have done that, we would have had 2 or 3 months worth of mortgage payments to make. But I did, and so we don't. And unfortunately, I closed those credit cards. And so now I have to use new credit to buy stuff, which also stinks because the older credit cards had better interest rates. Um, we're hoping that my husband gets back pay. I haven't watched the news today, but I know Congress was trying to pass something to get all the employees back pay. Someone asked what happens to our lost vacation. For us, my husband didn't have any use or lose, which I don't know what happens with people who lost their use or lose, but the government only lets you carry over so much leave per year. And so if you've been in the government for a long time, you probably have accumulated a lot of leave. Some people have accumulated so much that they have what's called use or lose. That means they have to use it before December 31st. And because Christmas time tends to be a really slow time for things to happen, and it's planned that way on purpose to correlate with vacations and whatever. A lot of people save their use or lose for the very last weeks of the year. And so the days when the shutdown happened was during a lot of people's use or lose leave. I don't know what happens with that. I'm not familiar, but with my husband's, he just didn't use his leave that he had scheduled. And so he still has that leave. But what we don't get back is like the time we would have had with the kids, the memories we would have made where we don't have the camping trip we wanted to take. I mean, there's a lot of things that are irreplaceable that can't be quantified. And so we'll never have this Christmas season back with the kids. We missed a great opportunity to make a really special, memorable, happy Christmas for these kids, who are already having to deal with too much. I don't know, for the love of God, just open the government. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's not worth it. The government's losing so much money being closed. It's so ridiculous. Somebody asked how much stress do the kids feel and how do we reassure them? We're really trying to minimize the amount of stress our kids are feeling from this. It's not possible to completely minimize it. They know that my husband's not getting a paycheck. They know that we've cut back on a lot of the things we do. They know we've canceled some plans. But, for long term, if this goes months, we'll be, selling cars. We have a rather nicer, newer minivan that we paid cash for. And, we'll be trying to sell that so we can buy a junky car or something. Somebody asked about my husband's paycheck, how deductions work since he's getting $0. I don't know how those work. I mean, they show up on his paycheck. But yeah, I don't know how you deduct from zero. So I'm assuming they're going to take it out of his next paycheck is what I would assume. They didn't ask him to write a check, so that's good. Does it affect bonuses? So someone asked if it affects bonuses. In the government, it's very rare, as far as I know, to get bonuses per se, but is affecting overtime. I know that at least with my husband's job, they've been told they don't want them to work overtime, which they work quite often. So I think what they're doing is having them work comp time or steal those hours from somewhere else. So when he does unexpectedly work overtime, he tries to take hours off the next day, so to keep at 40 hours. Or I think if they can't do that, they plan on giving him comp time, which is not overtime. That's my understanding. So I could be incorrect on that. Someone asked if it's affecting food in stores. I have no idea. I mean, I went to Target. They didn't have much on the shelves, but I don't think that was from the government shutdown. I think I came right before they restocked. I think that was probably just bad timing. Eventually, it probably will. A lot of people don't really understand. I think most people don't really understand how many parts of our economy the government touches. And so eventually we will start seeing a reduction in goods because there's going to be effects from the people who are furloughed. So my husband is working, which is another thing, like he can't get unemployment. Somebody told me, why doesn't he apply for unemployment? He can't. He's working. He's at work right now. He's just not being paid while he's working. But the effects of those people who aren't working, who are furloughed, are eventually going to be felt. They're non-essential because if they were gone for a day or two, like not much would be impacted, whereas the essential employees like are needed on a day-to-day basis, is my understanding. But just because they're non-essential doesn't mean they're not needed. A lot of things aren't getting done that should be done or normally done, and with it going on for almost a month, definitely we're going to start seeing every aspect of life have little impacts and eventually really big impacts, because government workers do a lot. Somebody asked how it affects our taxes. I have no idea. I'm not a CPA. I don't know how it's going to affect our taxes. I know when my husband works a lot of overtime, it knocks us into a different pay bracket, I guess, or tax bracket. And so his overtime gets way more taxed after a certain level. Hopefully that doesn't happen if we get one big paycheck. Hopefully they don't overtax it, because that would really stink. We do budget our monthly bills, so that our monthly bills fit in a pretty exact budget. And so if they tax us at a higher rate for that back pay, that would really suck. So we'd get it back, I guess, when we file our taxes in a year and a half. But yeah, that won't help us now. Hopefully that's not the case. I have no idea how it's going to impact our taxes. Somebody asked how many shutdowns we've been through. We've been through, I believe, 5. I might be wrong. I'm pretty sure it was 5. Most of them were short. The Obama one sucked. That caused a lot of worry. It came at a really bad time too. It wasn't nearly this bad. This one, being at Christmas time, impact our lives so much more because of the timing. It's just a really bad time of year to have your plans canceled. I know we luckily did not plan to fly home and see our family this year, but if we had, my husband would have had to come back to work and miss Christmas. I know that some people he works with, they didn't get to go see their family for Christmas, and so I know, I don't know what's going to happen with the people who had use or lose, but everyone's Christmas plans got canceled. Basically, anyone who was planning to take leave from work and had earned that leave and had scheduled that leave and was approved had to come to work. So a lot of people's Christmas plans were ruined. I don't know if it was such a big impact for other people, but I know for our family that's really the thing that was the most upsetting, is that it happened at Christmas. And we had a lot of things planned for Christmas, and Christmas was going to be really special and magical in our family, and it was definitely impacted. As far as how his vacation will be addressed, he didn't lose any vacation time, so we're lucky that he didn't have any loss of vacation time. I don't know how other people's gets addressed, but hopefully this ends soon. At this point, really, I have political feelings one way or another, but I don't want this video to be about that. I don't care if we have a wall or not. I could really care less. I don't care which side wins. I just want my husband to get paid for the work he's doing. He's been a hard worker. He's a good worker. He's a good person. I want to not be worried about how we're going to pay our bills. I don't want to work second jobs and third jobs. We both signed up so we can do Lyft and Uber driving, but that pays like right around minimum wage. Sometimes you lose money. I mean, it depends on the cost of how far they're going and which vehicle we're using and gas and all those things. And which is another thing. I mean, we're just racking up credit card debt, and its credit card debt will probably pay off, but the level of stress that it's put us under is not fair and it's not right. And so I hope this gets solved soon. And more than that, I really, really, really hope that Congress will stop this insanity from happening. This should not ever be an appropriate way to negotiate for something, and it needs to stop. Workers who are working should be paid for their work. And negotiating a budget and not being able to compromise on small things shouldn't affect everything in the budget. There should be a minimum amount of spending that is known for basic services that continues without debate is set. There should be a minimum level of spending that is set to be spent year to year to year to year. You need air traffic controllers. You need federal prison guards. You need Coast Guard. I mean, there's services. We need FDA food inspectors. There's services that the government provides that we will always need, and those should always be paid. That should not be a bargaining chip for anything extra, projects or whatever. I get it, like, have a fight about it, I don't care, but you should pay your workers when your workers are working, and you should continue to provide basic government services no matter what's happening. So I hope that the Congress can fix this permanently so that it's not something that continues to happen to loyal government workers who are serving the public right now for free. So, all right, any more questions? I'm logging off. How do I stop it?